All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming to our week one press conference. We're going to start with an opening statement from Coach, and then after that we'll take questions. Just raise your hand. We've got mic holders to come around and ready for questions. Coach, take it up.
First off, I'm very thankful. Like I always tell you, be the head football coach here. I'm also thankful that we have an opportunity of, playing against Ohio. I think they have an amazing staff led by their head coach, Tim Allen. Defensive coordinator does a great job. John Hauser, just trying to remember all the names. The special teams coordinator, Nate, really good job. We met before on the road. I've been watching their receivers, so I think that Coach Allen does a really good job, and their offensive coordinator, Coach Smith. So I'm just really excited to go against them. Coach Tim's been coaching since I was 7. He's been a college football coach, so he's an experienced coach. They've done a really good job just over the past few years of being able to win 9, 10 games. They do a really good job. When you watch them on film, they're coached extremely well. So I'm very thankful to have the opportunity to coach against him. I think they're really experienced on the offensive line. They have a great offensive line. Just watching them and their offensive line coach, Coach Rudolph, I thought he did a really good job just from watching those guys and going through stuff with them and seeing that. Quarterback Navarro, 13, watched him in a bowl game. This kid can play. Definitely a dual threat, so I'm excited to go against him to see. That's most coaches' worst nightmare to try to go against a dual threat guy. Dennis just transferred in from Michigan, who was fast. I remember him on the recruiting trail. Tight end Bruno actually played with my son last year, and I remember watching him and just saying, wow, this kid can really block. Like, this kid is a tough kid. So him, Rodney Harris, another receiver, Rodney Harris Jr., and then Hunt Jr., that running back. He runs the ball well. They've always ran the ball well, so that's something that he does. On the defensive side of the ball, Weaver is a good player. We thought their secondary was really good, just watching them on tape. And Woods, Austin Burley, and Adonis Williams. So with that being said, I think we have a good team coming in the house, coming to play. They're known for taking out Power 4 schools, and being able to win and do a good job. And I think their coach is just, like I said, guys, he's been coaching since I was 7, so he might have forgot more football than I know. So I'm just extremely thankful to have an opportunity to compete against him and that staff.
Go to questions. We'll start with Dan and then go to Emily right in front.
Coach, looking at this game going in here and the first one for you as a head coach, the transfers that came in for you, trying to implement the plan with them and work them in from the different areas that they came from, how has that kind of maturation process gone, and how you feel about them at all different phases of the game, the transfers that came in to try and boost up this team?
We're just really trying to lock in on Dart, to be honest. And it's like a daily grind, a daily way for us to just play, be able to focus, and just gel together. It's almost like a puzzle. You don't want to force anything. Whatever fits. And then you start to see things that do fit, and then you just understand their weaknesses and their strengths and try to play on their strengths, but then continue to grow their weaknesses of what it helps. I thought we had a really good team. I think they did a good job. We're having some players, and we were able to, due to the help of just the community, Syracuse fans, helping me have the opportunity of keeping Marlowe and Justin Barron, Quin Allen and Cinco and all those guys to be here. So we went and got some guys to add on to make Syracuse football team. Hopefully we look like a real good football team and we gel together.
Emily in front.
Hey, Fran, just took a look at the depth chart. First question, wondering, Justice Ross Simmons, is he available yet, back from that hamstring injury you mentioned? Noticed he's not on.
He's working. We got to see what he does. If he's had I guess they would call it just a bum summer. Hasn't been able to get completely healthy. You saw it before we started camp, and then he had a bad hamstring pull. But he's working to get back. He's almost back completely. You've seen him do some stuff on the side the other day where I'm excited to see him because, this is a big kid that can run. He's physical. So he should be. I think he'll be able to play this week, I'm hoping, but I'm not completely sure. It just depends on what he can handle, and how much he can tolerate. So, but he seems to be a lot closer. So we'll see how it goes.
And then you got quite a few names in at that defensive tackle spot. I'm just curious if you foresee having that many names on the depth chart going forward, or you're looking for some guys to really step up and solidify themselves there.
No, that's going to be that way. To be a dominant defense, I think that the defensive line, you have to be able to rotate. Those guys all have to be able to play. There's a certain number that each guy you feel he could be able to play, so you're hoping that they could all reach that number. and help them out. And then as the year go on, you're hoping that some of the guys that you thought could play 10 snaps can move up to 15, and then the 15s can move up. But you gotta do that collectively in the defensive line room in order to be able to last and compete.
We'll stay right in the front row and go Brent, Chris, Christian right across the way.
Fran, now that it's game week, how do you want your players to focus? Or do you want them to kind of embrace what the community's feeling and what they're expecting with the team?
I just really want them to go be great students today. Like we started that off, just make the main thing the main thing. And all you can handle is academically right now. Then when they get in this building, we're just going to focus on football. And we're just going to take it day by day. It's really all you promise. I'm just thankful that we've all had a chance to wake up this morning. And you really got to live the day. Because you start looking too far ahead, you won't be prepared when that time comes. But we just focused on us and just trying to make sure that each and every individual, that I could coach it out of them to be the best version of myself, to allow them to be the best version of them. So just trying to coach the best out of each kid.
Fran, we see Amari Hatcher at the top of the wide receiver depth chart. I think a lot of guys would see a coach bring in 2 wide receivers from his former place and run. He didn't. What do you remember from your first conversations with him?
With Hatcher,
Yeah.
He took everything that we said to do, and I told him what it would take for him to be a starter and to be he talked about his ending goal in football was to play in the National Football League and be a good player there. Because I asked, do you want to go? Because if you just want to go to the NFL, you're talented enough to do that. Do you want to go and play? Do you want to go and be a part of it? And we talked about his weight. He had to gain more weight. He needed to be at least 185 pounds. He needed to get physical in the run game. And he needed to make difficult catches. He had to be able to do that. And he had to show that he wants to block. And if he didn't do those things, then he wouldn't be able to play. And he answered the bell. Like, he did everything we was asked to do. He ate the right way. He gained the weight. He got stronger in the weight room. And he's a good kid. Like, once you get to know him and just around him, he's just a good kid. He sucks at playing cards, though. But he's a really good kid, though. I'm excited about him. And I'm happy that he's getting this opportunity, and I think he'll make the best of it as long as he locks in on Tuesday.
What game do you guys play?
We play a game called Tonk. Yeah, we play Tonk. Yeah, he's not good at all. Yeah, he's not good.
Fran, you got a taste of what the dome atmosphere is going to be like during the spring game now that week 1 is approaching. How much are you looking forward to how that stadium is going to feel with the full dome crowd?
I'll be excited about it. I'll be more so happy about all the freshmen. I went and did something the other night, and it was like all the freshmen there. And it's like all of our first time. Like, I'm a freshman with them, so I was more excited about them, just how happy it was. I'm happy for them getting a chance to go to college. I know that a lot of fears and not understanding of what's going on, but that was pretty cool to be in there with those guys the other night and just seeing all their enthusiasm and just how excited they are about just being in college. So, I just told them, just come out. And if you ever get afraid or you need to talk, just reach out. But I'm definitely happy about the dome, and I know it's going to rock. I know how it's going to be there. But I'm also excited about, all the kids that come to school here, our future, right? All the future student athletes and just all the future guys that's going to take over America. When you go look around at all the buildings, you got the Lally, we're in the Lally Lounge, you got Falk's business schools, like all those different things. Like they were freshmen too before, so just wondering which one of these guys are going to be the next great, who knows who.
Coach, new era in Syracuse football starting in a couple of days. What do you hope this first game for you, for the team, says about your team?
Just that we care about each other. You can see it through the way we play, that we live Dart, and you can tell that all the kids on our football team are committed, that they care, and we trust each other, coaches included. It's really just trying to make sure that you guys can see like a bunch of young men that are developing, and you can see the difference in some from last year to this year. Not stating that last year was bad or anything of that nature, but just as each year they're growing, and I want to make sure that people can see that, and that our community's thankful and happy about what we're doing because they get the opportunity to come and watch us play football. So just that you see us together, just that you can really see Dart and you can see that we play like that and we live. It's not just a saying, it's who we are.
Hey, Coach. When you think about this entire experience, start to finish, what it took to get to this point this Saturday, what are you the most proud of?
Proud of my wife and kids. Just happy for them to be able to still be the same. I'm very thankful for them. I'm proud that I've been able to stick with my faith. and never try to make it about me. It's just truly about my faith and just being able to lock in on my faith. That's probably what I'm most proud of myself is like I've really locked into my Bible probably more than ever before and just leaned on that because, it's a tough job. You guys are tough. You're cool with me now, but then we'll see come Saturday. So just locking in with my family and my faith, that's what I'm most proud of, and just our team. Just proud of them, and I watched them mature over the past 8 months. So thankful for those guys.
We'll go right across in front to the Daily Orange now.
Coach, throughout training camp, what area did you feel like your team grew the most in heading into the season?
That's a secret. If I tell you my secrets, then, it won't be a secret no more. I think we grew the most, though, in trust and playing together. I think we care about each other a lot, I couldn't just tell you a position, but I'll just say that, together, we're a team. We're becoming a true family instead of it just being a word. We're trying to live with each other, trying to love each other, trying to make sure that we can take care of each other. So I would say we grew more our trust and our care for each other. You do your job, I'll do my job, and then see what we can do afterwards.
Hey, Coach. You talked about Amari and
say that again.
You talked about Amari Hatcher and Justice Ross Simmons. Just for that wide receiver room overall, what did you see from their growth throughout training camp, and what are you most excited about seeing from them in this first game?
I think Coach Ross and Coach Maddox, those guys did an amazing job with the receivers, just develop them. I'm just excited to see them block. Excited to see them block, excited to see them catch a pass and just turn it up and knife up the field. But they've done a real good job. They've been hard for us to cover them. We've really had an opportunity of just developing a tough football team, and those guys really showed that. They're going to try to do what they can do on the edges. It's important to them to try and block. It's important to them to just be able to answer the call when their number's called. Your number won't get called often, so when it does get called, make sure you can answer the call.
Coach, how important was it for Quin Allen to come back to the program, and what have you seen from him throughout camp so far?
He's the leader of the football team. He's like the heart. He's tough. He's passionate. You guys see him and watch him, everything he does, he wears his heart on his sleeve, so it's important to do that. It was also important for him to, I think that he took a huge step in reference to just controlling his composure, not just making impulsive decisions. He's becoming a little man. I'm really proud of him. He's only 20 years old. Just seeing when his birthday came, it's wow, you're really this young, but he's so mature and he's just so passionate and he just loves football. He really loves it, and is an intelligent football player. He has a high IQ actually. When you watch him on the football field and do it, I'm really just impressed with his leadership, and he's the heart of the team. If we all had that heartbeat, we'd be pretty good.
Well, third row, then fourth row.
Coach, in terms of dart, is that something you guys used at Georgia, or when did you decide to bring that to Syracuse and have that be the mantra of the program this season?
That's not something, we didn't use that in Georgia. We had something that. It was our composure and things of that nature. That was just life. I think as a man, as a parent, as a man of faith, as a football coach, you want to be detailed. You want to be held accountable. You have to be relentless and tough, because you're going to go through a lot of things in life, and if you could just take those acronyms, and you could take those words, and they could be who you are. If someone was to explain, if they asked, how would you explain Fran? And they could say, well, he's detailed, he's very accountable, he's relentless, he's a tough guy, I'll be cool with that. So I figured, okay, if we could take these and try to allow every player to live that way in everything that they do, then I think you'll have a bunch of successful young men. So that's all it was, just about how do I get these young men to become grown men and to be successful, and when tough times come, what can they fall back on that will keep them on track?
Hey, Coach, it's Kyle McCord's first game as a member of the Syracuse Orange, and he's got a pretty underrated tough defense coming to the Dome to face off. How do you think he's feeling about getting his first game over with and attacking it against his first opponent?
I don't know. I hope he's not worrying about getting his first game over with, and then he's just worrying about practice on Monday. It's kind of I just hope he focused on today. Like I said, man, they have a great football team, so, I don't want to – we just trying to focus on Monday to be able to hit the areas that we need to hit, because we know they're a good defense. We know they're going to do a lot of slants, and, they gap exchange a lot, and they send different guys. So, I mean, we just hoping that we can make the plays that'll be there for us to make, and they're gonna make some, we'll make some. Just may the best man win at the end of it. But I hope Kyle makes the plays that we need to play to help us get 1 point more than them.
Hey, Coach. It's a pretty good football team. They're coming off 2 back-to-back 10-win seasons. What's going to be the message this week to your team, maybe not to underestimate this Ohio University Bobcats team?
I would never say we can underestimate them because they had 2 10-win seasons, and I don't think we did. So in my eyes, they're a better football team than we are. You know, I mean, when you just go back to what was been done and where it's been at. But we just focused on the day. Like, I don't really know. I don't live that way. Like, I can't worry about that game, the game gonna come when the game comes. We'll play them on Saturday, but like we got a lot. Like, we got class all week. They got 15 hours of class this week that they got to make sure they dominate. We got practice every day that you got to make sure you do. So like, there's a lot that leads up to that. So it's almost like a process. And if you don't follow that process, then you don't give yourself an opportunity to be in position to try and win on Saturday. So I'm just hoping that we can follow the process a little bit more than they follow the process, and then we could come out on top. So that's just kind of where I'm at. We would never, ever, ever underestimate Coach Tim and his staff or what they do and what they've done. I mean, you see it, what happened with Iowa State last year, right? So like, I would never underestimate. I mean, this man's been coaching since 1989. I was just turning 7 years old, so who am I to underestimate this guy and what he's done? He coached with Osborne at Nebraska. I mean, one of the legendary coaches of all time. So, you know, I mean, I have nothing but respect for them. Yeah.
Back in front to Dan.
Coach, you've had a lot of experiences leadership-wise in your journey to be where you are right now. This being historic for you always, your first game as a head coach. What have you learned about yourself as a leader through spring camp, through fall camp, through being with this program? How has leadership evolved for you?
I'm just still growing daily. There's a lot that I still have to get better at, but I'm growing daily. I'm working on patience a lot. I've reached out to all the coaches that I used to work with. Like, I literally just texted Coach Smart this morning because I was wearing my shoes the way he was wearing his shoes, and I told him I got on the Kirby Smart 2.0s, and he was just showing me, like, told me a couple things to focus on and to get right with. But I just reach out to guys. Like, I'm not afraid to reach out. I do not have all the answers. Like, I probably don't have half of them, but I just try to reach out and just get as much information as I can get. Try to be an information seeker and not giver, but just trying to have a lot of fun with it. I'm having fun, to be honest. So that's the main thing. Like, I'm having fun. I'm making sure that the players around us have fun and that the coaches have fun. Like, I want everybody to come to work every day and enjoy being at work. Like, there's nothing like loving what you do. You know, if everybody could come here every day and they happy when they're here, then you're gonna maximize every person. But if every person isn't coming here and happy, then they start to talk. And, you know, once people start to say things to this one and that one, you know, negative people try to find other negative people, and it just doesn't work that way, you know. I like to be around a room full of happy winners, you know, because if I got 5 winners, and I'd rather hang with those 5 winners because that's going to make me the 6th winner. If it's 5 disgruntled guys, I don't want to be around 5 disgruntled guys because eventually I'll be the 6th disgruntled guy. So I'm just happy, and I'm learning, though. Let's just be honest with you. I learned from all of our coaches. Coach Nixon been coaching 28 years. So, you know, Coach Dale Williams been coaching 30 years. Nunn's been coaching 26. Coach Robinson been coaching 15. When you just start to look at all the coaches on the staff, like, they've all been in the teens and things of that nature. I've been coaching 12. So I'm just thankful to be in a position, and there's so much more I can learn. That's going to help a lot.
Hey, Coach, I think it's clear to me, at least, that it's important to you to just live in the day based on the way that you answered some of the questions at this press conference. I want to know how that changes things for you and your athletes living in just today versus thinking about a week or 2 weeks or even further in advance.
It's not a lot of pressure. Like, you just focus on the day. Like, that's all I want to worry about is today. Like, I'm going to get up, I go to my Bible, I make sure I lock in on that. And we just live for, like, today. Like, I can't worry about Saturday, because then when Saturday comes, I'm not going to be ready. So, like, when you just focus on the day, it takes so much pressure off you. Like, you guys should really try it, because, like, I'm not just saying it. It's really what I do. My wife gets mad at me sometimes because she say I don't prepare for everything else. And, like, I'll prepare for tomorrow starting tonight. I got it written down of what I want to do. Of course, I do my whole weekly schedule like I think everybody does. I write down all 168 hours in a week, but I wrote down what I would like the week to look like. But God got different plans sometimes, so I just focus on that day. I'm gonna dominate this day, and I'm ready for this day. Like I already knew at 12:40, had to make sure I got ready to be in here with you guys, and I was already ready. So when he called me, I was waiting for him. Because it's just like certain things that you have to do, and I think if you're schedule oriented and you're able to follow your schedule at least 80% of the way, you'll be successful. So if I got my players doing that, can you imagine if 112 guys are following a schedule and they're living that way, and they could follow it? Just imagine all of us when you were all in college, if you follow the schedule 85% of the way. So imagine us trying to do that, and that's all we're trying to do, just daily living, because those days become weeks, those weeks eventually become months. And then the months become years, and before you know it, you just kind of, hopefully you can be one of those people they talk about, or we can have our name on the building somewhere,
Chris?
Fran, when you look at the size of the freshman class you brought in and the transfers, it's one of the bigger roster overhauls in a single year, probably in the sport, with over 40 new guys. How did that shape your off-season compared to what it might look like in a more normal year?
The off-seasons will get harder every year because there's a new standard. You can't do the same thing again and expect it to go. So they always talk about either you evolving or you die. I don't really want to say die, but either evolve or you go. Or my mindset is they always say, if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Now we look at it if it's broke, break it. If it's working, break it, and fix it back again. Break it, let's make it even better. So things may have worked and things may go the right way, but let's break it all up, let's figure it all out, and let's see how we can make it better. But our off-season workout will be harder than it was this year, next year. Everything has to continue to get better, When you just look at athletes in the world, they're continuously getting better, right? It's normal to see guys 7 foot now. It's normal to see 6'7" guys. That's just starting to become normal because just the way the world is and what's going on. So I don't know. Everything always get better. It's a new standard that has to be set daily. Each week it get tougher. It has to be gone, and you have to be able to rise to the standard. If you don't, then somebody else is. So you won't get the best of it. There's no missed opportunity. Someone always takes it. Don't ever forget. There's no opportunity that's missed. Someone always takes that opportunity. Better hope it come back, but usually it's gone.
Did you have to spend time doing things to get them to gel or to teach them that you would prefer, not to have spent that time on?
Nah, they all my little homies, man. We all cool. When I would say to do something and it's something that we want done, I usually give a good explanation of why and what we're going to do, and then it's gone. I don't always talk this way, so it's two different tones, and we like to. But they usually, when anything I ask them to do, they do it. So that's why I don't want to let them down. They're good dudes, all of them.
Take 3 more. Start with Emily, then go to Brent, then finish with Christian.
How did you and your staff decide who was coaching on the field, who's coaching up in the box? It looks like it's just Nixon and Campanelli up in the box. How did you guys kind of decide that, if you're willing to share?
Hey, that's really not that's not true that way. That it's just Nixon and Campanelli. It's other coaches that'll be up. With the new rule that came out where QCs are allowed to coach, and there's so many more, you got so many guys on the staff that have really good knowledge of football and understand the game. So we're just going after what's best for our players. Who needs to be around them when they get into a chaotic situation or adversity hits? Who do they need there to be able to talk to them? Sometimes it's looking them face to face. Who needs to be around them? Who do they need? What's needed during the game? What'll be important? What isn't important? So it was just more so all about the players. Any decision you make has to be what's the best for the players, never for the coaches. Coaches got to adapt, but we got to make sure the players are comfortable. And when they do get in that chaotic situation or adversity is getting the best of them, how do we get them to snap back into it and be able to move on?
Who's going to be on the headset with McCord?
Who's going to be on the headset with McCord?
Yeah, the new helmet communications.
Hopefully nobody on there, and they just let him do it because he's done a good job. But our head coach, I'm the head coach. I'm not going to be on there. I'm going to say the head coach will not talk to Mikal because I don't want to mess him up. But Coach Nixon and Coach Nuns, those guys will talk to him. Normal guys that he communicates with every day. We're not going to go changing that stuff around, but just make sure they talk to him. I'll talk to him before a drive, and I'll say, hey, Kyle, throw it to the guy that's open. You know what I mean? Try to get him to do that. Throw it to the guy that's open. That's about it.
Fran, I want to ask you about a couple of young guys that made the depth chart. What did Emmanuel Ross and Malachi James show you to get that designation?
They're big, talented young freshmen that can play football. They came out and competed from day one. I mean, Malachi James is the fastest kid to ever run in the state of New Jersey, right? So he ran a 10.18. And he's just his size. He's 200 pounds and can run. And Emmanuel Ross is just a student of the game. He even had a hamstring injury and came back and still was able to make the two deep and be able to do those things. That kid's talented. He can play football, and he's very intelligent. So, I mean, they're just big freshmen. They're both 200 pounds. You know, like 6 foot. They can play ball. So, just you don't want to have those guys just sitting around. You know, it's like, why not use them? You know, and then it takes some off of the other guys when you can put those guys in. And so we're excited and thankful. I'm very thankful they're on our team. I thank their parents. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Ross and Mr. and Mrs. James. They did it. They made a great decision by taking their kids back and sending them to Syracuse. So I'm very thankful for them.
Last question to Christian.
Coach, at the beginning of training camp, you said that you wanted to put your team through chaotic situations, see them respond to adversity. Now that camp's over, how have you seen them evolve in those areas, and not just your team, but your coaching staff as well?
Yeah, I do it to everybody every day. I make sure that I was doing that to coaches. I knew who I would come out through as a coach and how I would attack them to see if they would respond or how would they be able to still coach. Would they still be able to coach the kid? Put them in bad situations where the defense would be mad. I'm not calling sack. No, I don't go. They got to run. They're getting down the field on y'all to see if they could just focus on the next play, or were they still worrying about what happened? Doing that same thing with the players and being able to get them to go. Just calling whistles early for the offense, saying the quarterback, you'd have been sacked, and then seeing what the coaches do. Can they respond now when it's 2nd and 15? It's a lot easier when it's 2nd and 3, but it's 2nd and 15 now. Let me see how you're going to react. You know, we just throw a flag. You know, it's different things are done. Shout out to all of our refs that was here the entire spring. Outside of the ACC coach referees that helped, we had a lot of coaches, referees locally that they just did a tremendous job, which they'll do all year long. But they made practice like fun. You know, they did a really good job. So, but we just put them in chaotic situations, give them flags, do different things of that nature, back them up. Make it like pro offense sometimes, pro defense, and that way just see what they can do. And then do the same thing with special teams. You know, we did a lot of things with special teams to see if they can make kicks in chaotic situations. Can a long snapper snap the ball? Even though we're not playing outside, I want to snap a wet ball and just see what happens. It's different things to see what they can and can't do. And I tried to create it as much as possible and just hoping that I put myself in some of those situations, but I'm constantly learning though, like I told you, we're just learning. See what happened today in practice, right? So, yeah, Monday practice is honestly the most important thing that we can do at Syracuse right now is be able to dominate Monday's practice.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Well, thanks, bro.
A couple housekeeping items for the group.